I am so excited to talk about all the things that I read last month, and thankfully this stack, I think, is not as big as the stack that I had in the previous month, making me really nervous it was gonna fall. This one seems pretty good. Let's hope that it doesn't fall on me on this side. Hello friends, happy Friday. So very excited that you're here. We're gonna be talking about everything I read in the month of May, having that reading wrap up because I read 28 things roughly last month, and I'm gonna follow the same thing that I did in the previous video with the timestamps. I'm gonna do it by publisher, mainly because that's just a lot more easier when I go to edit everything, just easier to do that way. So let's go ahead and jump right in. For the first part, it's just me very briefly share that I'm still reading my digital webtoons of the Remarried Empress, which has been very interesting and very different. Finally, the Emperor is sort of off of these chapters, and I'm very appreciative, very thankful. There continues to be lots of things going on, and one particular thing, I won't say what it is very dangerous, and I'm very curious of how exactly it's going to affect everybody, because it won't just affect the Emperor, it's going to affect or potentially affect Henry as well. Well, I mean, not potentially, like it's going to affect him. Like we're already in those chapters of last month that I read, we definitely see that it has an impact on him, how that impact on him is affecting Navier and what Navier wants to do. And so there's a lot of things sort of up in the air, making it very interesting or continually interesting. I'm also continuing to read The Beloved Incompetent Stepmom. I think it's the name of that one. I am loving that series. It is so wonderful. If you like Not So Wicked Stepmom, I really think you will like this one. I feel like the plot is not as deep compared to Not So Wicked Stepmom, but I love the boys in Incompetent Stepmom. They're so precious, and seeing the breakthroughs that the youngest is having with the female lead, it has been emotional, y'all. I feel like it's my serotonin boost every Sunday night, but at the same time, I get really emotional every single chapter pretty much, really hoping that it gets a physical release. It's very beautiful, very heartfelt, and would definitely recommend it. But going into the physical things, because that was all that I read digitally, I'm pretty confident. Now, I do want to mention here that I did not include Phantom Thief Jean because I did read volumes of the Omnibus 3 through 5 in the very beginning of May, but I talked about that in my April reading wrap-up because those were library copies, and I really didn't know if I could talk about just like volumes 1 and 2 and then not be able to talk about volumes 3 through 5 since I filmed that video after May had started. So if you're curious about like my entire thoughts of Phantom Thief Jean, definitely check out my April reading wrap-up since that has all my thoughts. But diving into what I have on my physical stack, I read volume 6 of In the Name of the Mermaid Princess. Me and my friend Holly have been buddy reading it as we get new volumes, and we both love this, but oh my goodness, the antagonist, I'm hesitant to call him villain because of the nature of him. I don't like him. I don't like him. I think as my friend Shannon had mentioned that this antagonist shows up what feels really late in the series because they have not been an antagonist. They haven't even shown up in any previous volumes at all. And to know that the next volume is the last one, it's sort of worrisome in the sense of how are they going to wrap up everything? But honestly, it's just worrisome in relation to this volume of how this volume ended. I was so upset because of what that character did to one of our precious characters in this series. That was horrible to end on that spot. Like, I'm trying to think if any of the other volumes had really bad cliffhangers. I don't feel like it was as bad as this one because this one, I'm just like, I don't know what's going to happen next, but you just know that when things get back to normal, that this character is going to be upset with herself. And I feel like Mio, being the sweetheart she is and being truly incredible, because with the fallout that happened in the previous volume and the way she's handling things in this one, absolutely incredible. She's amazing. We love her. She's fantastic. I feel like things will be okay with the other said character in question because again, Mio is just amazing, but man, it's gonna hurt. It is gonna hurt, and I don't know what's gonna really come. I really loved Chiaki and how he handled things in this volume, how he addressed things, because I felt like things were up in the air with him as well, but oh, I loved everything with that. That was really great. So I'm really excited to read the next volume. I just desperately hope that it's not rushed. The series has definitely not felt that at any given point. So I feel confident that things will be okay, but man, it is hard to know that the next volume is going to be the last one. And I guess that's sort of true because I also read volume 22 of Queen's Quality. There's nothing I can say about this since this is ending soon. We got a lot of answers in this volume, and not just answers, but the backstory that we've been seeing with Fumi's mom. Y'all, I was on on the verge of about to sob. If my children hadn't been around me when I was reading this, and if I knew that I wouldn't upset them by just having a little sob fest, I would have broken down when reading this. It was so heartfelt, heartbreaking, and beautiful. Man, it just, that's all I can say, because it makes me emotional just thinking about it. But yes, answers are coming out. We see that backstory. It is everything, but you need to have your tissues ready, because it was so hard to read, even though it was very, very touching at the same time. I know I've been talking about this manga a whole bunch, and I'm going to talk about it one last time. It won't be the last of this channel, but just for concerning volume 1. And I read volume 1 of Girl Crush. Y'all, if you need a sports shoujo series and you really don't want anything with romance, and you love the K-pop atmosphere or just K-pop in general, and you want something that has good rivalry, even though our female lead is the one that's declared this rivalry, and her rival that doesn't even know that she's actually the rival, like this girl here, I feel so, she don't know she's our main girl's rival. She don't even know. She's a sweetheart. She's the kind of heroine that I love cheering for in shoujo manga, that inspire you to change, to give it your all, and to just be the beautiful person that you are. Tenka here is our actual heroine, and I really struggled at first because I read this digitally, like the first 20 chapters, because I couldn't stop reading, and it's been one of my most anticipated releases, and it was everything coming back to this first volume physically. And Tenka's just, she could throw some shade. A girl could throw some shade, but her rival really just don't see the shade. And it's like, Tenka, like, we know what you're doing, girl. We know what you're doing. But I do love her as a heroine. She is very different and very compelling. And I find it very interesting that she's basically adopting her rival's dream to become a K-pop idol. I don't know. I feel like that's really like, wow, like you have really strong feelings towards her and you're refusing to lose to her, so much so that you're like, I'm going to go show this girl up and adopt her dream for myself and show her I'm better. But without telling her that that is why you're doing what you're doing. It's very, very good. Very compelling. I shared in, I think it was this past Top 5 Wednesday video of how I did a buddy review with my friend Claire on Beneath the Tangles. If you're interested in checking it out, I'll leave the link below. It was really good. I would just strongly recommend this, especially if you want a shoujo that doesn't have romance. You really want to feel those action scenes in the sense of the dancing, the sports aspect. It all comes alive on page. I felt myself holding my breath, and I just felt very invested into her story, and I'm excited to see what happens next, and also have that physical volume because it just keeps getting better and better. Next up, listen y'all, I should start off the video saying this. I've talked about it somewhere at some point that if there's any one regret that I have concerning my channel is that I don't have a video review of Shortcake Cake. I adore this series. It's by Sue Morishita. I have read this series like with my favorite parts skimming here and there numerous times. Like it's up there with Kimi Todoke and just how I can grab a random volume and I'll just start reading right where it is because I have loved every single volume. And so I bring that up because several weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, my friend Coco had shared the series on Instagram, and I said, hey, do you want to do a buddy read of this? Because I have been meaning to do a reread so I can actually have a video review, and that series in question is Shortcake Cake. It is a 12-volume series, and oh my goodness, coming back to this and then buddy reading it with Coco, wonderful 10 out of 10 experience. It was so emotional, and I deeply, deeply loved being back with these characters. I was so moved. Really, this is a series that starts off as wholesome shoujo fluff, feel good, and then about volume 5 or 6, you're like, man, things are starting to change. Something's not right with certain characters, and 10's like, I want to get to the bottom of this. That second half is an emotional roller coaster. I read one of those volumes out in public. I chose the wrong volume because I was out there tearing up and wanting to cry because it's so beautiful. It's really hard at certain moments, but the emotions that come out in this series are absolutely everything. And so saying all of that, I do have a video review. I did my best this time not to have spoilers because that was the problem with the first time I reviewed this series is I had so many spoilers that I just ended up deleting it. That was like 2 years ago, but sometime, I don't know when because my schedule's pretty packed coming up for future videos, but I will be posting a video review of this series, and I think it is just such a phenomenal shoujo manga. Like, I was really reminded of why I love this. Also, it was interesting coming back and seeing the beginning. I felt like when I read it for the very first time that with the emotional whiplash you get near the end, and I'm like, man, like I feel like this came out of nowhere, but reading over it again, I'm like, I see the signs that I couldn't see before, where you notice like the just certain moments, you're like, this feels sort of off. This character said something that was just a little bit weird for the situation, or keep bumping into this certain character. Like, what are all of these things? So I saw the subtle touches, the subtle, I don't know, foreshadowing that was going to be coming, and I was thriving. Sumo Ishida, they are excellent storytellers. Well, storyteller and artists really feel like there's just panels that bring out that emotion that wrap around you, and you're like, man, I need to see reconciliation. I need to see healing. I need to see happiness for these characters, and I really love Ten as a heroine. She was so much fun to follow, seeing her change just in this series, because it definitely really seems like we're focusing on some of the guy characters and their story and growth of healing, but Ten has that too. It's different, yes, but it's no less impactful, I think, especially when you compare to how she was at the beginning and then how she reacts to Riku in certain situations and then how she's at the end. Very, very beautiful. Would highly recommend this series. And it was really interesting too, having Side of Affection and deeply loving that series as well, because I was trying to think, I think I asked in my Discord server, I'm like, how do you choose what your favorite series is by a certain creator? Because typically for me, I say, well, okay, if this series is my favorite, it's because I have reread it the most times. Like, that is how I rank or how I determine if a series is one that I really love, because I'm willing to reread it again. But I'm like, I'm pretty sure that I've read A Sigh of Affection and this series at numerous points where I just stopped counting because I just love them both so much. I bring up A Sigh of Affection because you can really see some of the moments where I feel like, especially for the artists, where they grew. Like, especially with Riku, I saw Oshi a couple of times. I mean, they're different characters, but just in Riku's character that reminded me of Oshi's character. Hopefully it makes sense. It made me happy. It was not a bad comparison, and it would just, honestly, after reading Shortcake Cake, I did want to reread the series again because I was so touched by it, but it also made me want to go reread A Sigh of Affection, which is something I actually do want to do this month, but my copy of Volume 11 should be here by the time this video goes live because I'm filming early, and I'm just like, I don't know if I have enough time to reread A Sigh of Affection before it arrives. But going back to Shortcake Cake, it is so very good. I would highly recommend it, especially if you're wanting something that goes deeper than just fluff. Maybe you want that fluffy romance, and you're going to get that, but you also want deeper tones and deeper themes. You're going to get that as well. It has the best of both worlds, in my opinion, and I definitely cannot wait to reread this again. And I'm glad that I reached out to my friend Coco and asked, can we do it? Because it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed how we took a lot of pictures of the same panels and had great laughs. It was just, man, it was a wonderful reading experience. I love this series, and I look forward to coming back to it once again sometime in the future. Now we'll go on to Yen and Ize Press, and for this first one, it's really interesting to me. So I read volume 1 of The Villainess is a Marionette. I don't know why. I cannot really remember. I remember I didn't give this the highest of ratings on Goodreads. Not because I didn't like it. Let me just put that out there. I did enjoy it. I feel like I had more reservations because I'm being strict on my budget, that I was sort of unsure if I wanted to continue. And I actually reached out to my friend Danielle, and I was like, hey, because they have more volumes, I believe, in French, and this is a series I want to ultimately say I want to continue. And I wish that manhwa was not more expensive. I know I could read this series digitally. Like, I know that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Our female lead is very, very fascinating. Like, this is a manhwa or I should say, this is a villainous story where, yes, you have some of the common villainous tropes and themes, I feel like, where she has been reincarnated into this other world. Things were bad in her previous life, and now she's trying to change the ending of this villainous story. But what's great about it is she's really manipulative, and that is very different for me, that she is willing to change how she's perceived by other people and her personality, in knowing, or at least in hopes, that it's going to change the original course gradually over time. It was very fascinating because everybody around her is playing to her tune. They're playing to her fiddle. It was deeply satisfying seeing that. I enjoyed that. It's interesting because I feel like she's so different from how we see she was before she's in this body to how she is after. Surprised that nobody has really said anything of, she sure is not acting as dumb, so to speak, where because before they were like, oh, she's just the beautiful princess and she doesn't really think for herself. She let everybody make decisions for her and thought everybody had her best interests in mind, when that was not the case in the like first timeline for the original villainess. Like, no, that wasn't. I really think that the title, The Villainess is a Marionette, is very, very accurate for what was happening. But now she's not being that marionette. She's not letting anybody pull the strings. She is pulling the strings. What I would like to do is I really would like to continue. Again, I don't know why. I give it a 3.5 stars, so I did really like it. When I was flipping through this again, and the art is beautiful. Like, this is definitely a series that I'm like, I could just buy for the art. I don't have to even love the story, but I will be seated for that art because it is a beautiful, our female lead is gorgeous and everybody else looks really nice. And I lost my train of thought talking about it. I did read ahead online to see like, hey, do I want to keep going? And the answer is yes. I guess I feel like I'm all over the place for this review because I genuinely just am at a loss of what was I thinking at that time. I don't know if it was just because I wanted more romance or I don't know, but if you want some villainess that's like, I'm going to change this situation, maybe without those other people realizing, this is it. And the art is very, very beautiful. This was one of the last manga I read near the end of the month, and that is Pink and Habanero Volume 3. And I don't know if it was just the day or what, but you know, I can't gaslight myself because the other day when I posted my reading journal pages on Instagram in my stories, I saw so many people share about this volume and how much they loved it. And if you go back and see one of my past reading wrap-up videos or you look at my review on Goodreads, you will see I loved Volume 2. I was on the fence with Volume 1, loved Volume 2. Volume 3, I came in with some high expectations, and I did give this a really high rating. I give it 4 stars on Goodreads because there are some really cute moments. But near the end, when our leads are getting closer, I don't know, so how he was treating her after how she helped him in a very cute moment that was very heartfelt, I just felt so triggered. It made me think of a previous experience that I had with a family member where I felt that I was not being taken seriously and instead my words were turned against me. I saw myself so much in the female lead when it came to her sincerity to our male lead. For him to just throw her words back in her face was deeply upsetting to me. Like, I mean, we're talking so much that I was upset that I was about to just sit on the floor in a ball and start crying because I was just so upset. And the reason I say I can't gaslight myself because I'm like, this is a romantic comedy. A romantic comedy that for the most part is really fun to read. The art is wonderful. But I was just about to have this breakdown over his actions. And so I very sadly decided I'm going to unhaul this series because it was so triggering in that moment for me. And I feel like he is a very tundra character, and I don't feel like that's necessarily out of character for him, but I think because of our female lead, of how genuine she is, of how sincere she is, it was really hard for me to just see near the end of how he treated her and laughed at her. Like that last page, those last 2 pages were so heartfelt. And I was so mad though, what he says before those 2 last pages. And I caught myself thinking, girl, your life would be so much better if you just stopped liking him. And I knew that was sort of my moment that if I'm thinking this, despite the fun I had, it is a fun series. And just for me, for whatever reason, the day I read this, I've even tried coming back to this volume specifically the past 2-3 days. It wasn't as upsetting to me as the first time I read it, but I feel like my heart is just not in it. And I don't want people to think, well, like I hated it. Again, I gave it 4 stars. At the beginning, I was laughing out loud. I had a good time. It was just closer that I got to the end that I just was like, this is hitting too close to home for me during a really hard time in my life last year that I'm like, I can't laugh and I can't be on board for him to act the way he's acting. Do I think he's going to change? For sure. I know he's going to change. I know this series is a romance. I have seen spoilers because I follow the magazine, I follow the creator. So I know that it'd be something I would like in that moment. But I right now do not have the heart to get there. And so I'm sorry to any fans of this series. I myself am sad that I am not going to continue it anymore because Volume 2 was amazing. It was so good. One of my favorite things I've read this year, hands down. Also, I love the heroine. She is a wonderful shoujo heroine, and I love her earnestness so much. I just can't quite go with her on the journey she's going, but man, I hope it is a good one for her. I hope the goal that she has is she is successful. I have nothing but good things for her, but I do hope that male lead, I need him to be less grumpy, man. I need you to be a little bit more open and honest with your own feelings and not say it quite so meanly. So if you're continuing to read this series, keep me updated. I would love to know what is happening. I will genuinely say that. Now we're going on to 7C's manga, and I think I pretty much loved everything outside of Shortcake Cake. My favorite things I read this month, and maybe outside of Girl Crush as well, that everything was in the 7C's stack that I deeply love. And the first one was Diary of a Female Lead Volume 3. Loving, loving, loving this series. It is phenomenal. It is fantastic. Loving the development that is happening between our leads. I'm seeing it. I'm here. Volume 3 left on a cliffhanger. I'm like, I need Volume 4, like when we go and get it, because I need it in my hands. We have a new character that has been introduced, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of this character. She, as they have been saying, she is a handsome girl, and she really is. She looks amazing. Her attitude, her personality is very cool. I love how she's interacting with Aoi. Nothing but great things. And honestly, nothing but great things about this volume. I loved it so very much. And this next one I also love very much, and that's Volume 7 of Though I Am an Inept Villainess. We were cooking. Well, I wasn't cooking. Kagetsu was cooking in this volume. She stole the show. I loved so much everything that she was doing. Like, girl was out on a mission, and she set out for that mission and she accomplished it. Maybe not in the way that she wanted to concerning a certain character, but girl was perfect in Reiren, in her act. Everything about her was fantastic. She really, really stole the show, and I was here for it every single moment. Like, even the time too, when she approached the prince, got in his face, I said, girl, let's go. Tell the man, tell him off, please. Like, we love to see it. We love to see it. Also, the title was actually in this volume. I was like, there it is. I was like, title mention. I was liking that as well. But Reiren, whew, I didn't expect to want to cry in this volume. Sweet Reiren, man, that was hard. That had some feelings. That had some feelings. I was flipping through this volume this morning, and I said, nope, we can't go here. We can't go here today, because then we're gonna start crying at this. And I love these girls. I love how no matter who may try and encourage them in certain situations, that it's the girls, it's Reiren and Kagetsu who encourage each other the most, who speak to the other girl the most. Nobody can get to their level, and I love it so very much. Wonderful, wonderful volume. I really hope Volume 8 doesn't take forever to release. I don't know when it's coming, but I'm ready for it, especially since things were really looking up at the end of this one. Oh, this series I have been loving so much, and that is Home Sweet Home Volume 2. So many laugh out loud moments, feel good moments. The dad, he was hilarious. I really loved him being on page. I saw reviewers say they didn't like that and they wish he would have waited to be introduced. No, he was fantastic. He was fantastic. I admire our female lead so much, and how she said things, she did things, she thought things, and I was just like, girl, you amazing, you amazing. And our male lead, I really admired how he was being very respectful of how his best friend have an issue with him being such a gossiper, but I did like how he set our male lead straight and was like, dude, you're telling me all of these things. Don't you go think you should tell your roommate why you're feeling, why you said what you did? And I said, thank you very much. I really love, like, this is a series when even there's miscommunication, or when there's like, man, this thing happened and they don't necessarily want to talk due to a thing that happened, they're still like, hey, we need to talk about this, or at least let's try and keep moving forward together side by side. Wonderful in every single way. And the friendship, like the friends they have, they're fantastic. Everything about this series has been really, really amazing. Is there anything groundbreaking? No, there's not, but it makes me happy. It's feel good, it's easygoing, it's lighthearted, and I have just loved it. I'm having the time of my life, and I'm really excited to see what happens in Volume 3. I'm sad it's going to end at Volume 3, but I really feel confident it's going to be just as good as Volume 1 and Volume 2. For this next one, I didn't love this volume quite as much as Volume 1, and that is The Two Perfect Saint. I have a first impression of Volume 1, and it blew my mind of how much I enjoyed that. Volume 2 was still really good, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, I just didn't feel like it was quite the same height peak as Volume 1 was. Am I getting the next one? Yes, because talk about stealing the show. If anybody is doing that, Mia, her sister, that ending, that last chapter, I was like, I had no words. I had no words. And I agree. It was either the artist or the creator was like, I think people are going to be really wanting to know Mia more and that she's going to blow up. And I said, yes, I think you're right. I think you're right. I am very, very interested to see what she's going to do, but I'm loving our female lead. I really love this manga and seeing people just love on her. Maybe that's a weird way to describe this series, but for a person who really had, I wouldn't say she's depending on people to give her self-worth. I'm not trying to say that, but she really, just for herself, didn't believe that she had any kind of worth or value. She's this saint. She is really powerful and she can make such a huge difference. But it was like, why does that even matter when nobody is listening to her? But then she comes to this new kingdom and we're seeing, again, like how we did in volume 1, people are taking her words seriously. They want her to help. These people are grateful for everything she's doing to protect this country and this nation. And it is beautiful to see just how she's gradually changing. Like there was a situation or a moment, it's a very brief, talking about food and how she was before she came to this household. And now though, being loved on by these people and being cared for and having people generally listen to her, she's starting to really appreciate food. And again, maybe that sounds really vague, but it was a touching scene that I really liked. And this character here, I hope we see more. I hope we see more of her because I liked her and she is great. She is great. So definitely looking forward to the next volume and seeing what unfolds because man, things are going down everywhere and I want to know what is going to happen next. Oh my goodness, hands down, this is my favorite read of this month, or last month, excuse me, and that is Choking on Love Volume 2. Oh my gosh, I loved it. I loved it. Even put on social media, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. I typed every single one of those guys because that is how much I loved this volume. I also have a first impression of this. I believe it's with the Two Perfect Saint video that I did, or first impression. Oh, it just, the expectations, the bar was high, and it was like, we're gonna reach up to that bar and surpass it. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you a lot about it because I am afraid I'm going to give like spoilers. I'm loving though that we still have this college setting, that we have this music setting. We apparently are going to have a love triangle of sorts. Maybe, I'm not really sure, but I was like, I mean, I am definitely team Gaku here. No doubts. He is so unhinged, y'all. He's so unhinged. And there's times I'm like, I don't know what to make of your actions, but I just sit here and I just watch everything unfold and I'm like, okay, this is really, really great. I love it. It is a very engaging and interesting story that I don't really know where it's going, but I love it anyway. It hasn't seemed like it's like this super deep plot or anything, but the romance, man, it was cooking in this volume and I was squilling at my kitchen table. I was having such a good time and I cannot wait for volume 3. It was amazing. It really went past my expectations. I love how we're having really just smooth ride of romance, but with how things ended, is it gonna continue to be smooth? I really don't know. I don't think it's gonna be, but I'm here to find out if it is because it's just gonna get more interesting as it goes, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Oh, I love this one. And that's volume 2 of It Takes More Than a Pretty Face to Fall in Love. Yes, yes. Again, I don't know what to say about these because, man, I'm on the struggle bus of what to say. I also have a first impression of volume 1. I love Sana. One thing I will say that I really admired about this volume is the progression of time because more or less our male lead here, he's going to fail and Sana becomes a manager of the school's social media account. If they get to 100,000 followers and she takes photos of his pretty face, then he won't have to worry about being like flunking or staying behind or failing or anything like that. I bring that up because weeks have passed in this volume 2 and for some reason it worked. I never felt like, well man, like a week passed and we didn't see anything. Like creator, like you could have been feeding us here. No, it's like the creator knows when to feed the reader these really cute romantic moments, but with that progression of time, it's like really satisfying because you're seeing that social media number, like the follower number, you're seeing it go up. And I really love that. So I thought it was a really interesting way to show time without it feeling rushed, without me feeling like I'm missing anything, and all come together to really work. But that ending was so cute. I was like, I need volume 3. I need volume 3 immediately because things are coming out in the open. And I'm like, finally, yes, we've been waiting for for this. Definitely a lot of cute moments. Loved it just as much as volume 1. I cannot wait to see where this one's gonna go either because, man, it was just like, that was a cliffhanger. And please, volume 3, don't take forever to release because same with, you know, Choking in Love. Like, both of these I deeply, deeply loved. And I'm sorry that I'm not telling you more about it. I can't say there was like this bigger plot, like the Two Perfect Saint, where you can see there's a bigger world outside of these characters. And yes, there is, especially in Choking in Love, because the bandmates in this series are fantastic. I hope we see more of them. I'm really shipping one of the bandmates with Hibari's best friend because they're just, well, Hibari's best friend is just too cute and I love her. So it's very romantic plot focused. And so I feel like it's hard to tell you what exactly is happening outside of squealing of what is happening because then it will have major spoilers. So I'm trying to avoid that, but just know that they were both really good. Very much seed for the romance, very seed to see what happens next in both of them. I have 2 left, and one of them is by TokyoPop. I buddy read this with my friend, and I need to ask how you properly say her shop's name. I will leave it here because she has the cutest pens, merch, designs. So cute. Go check it out. But we buddy read volume 2 of The Margrave's Daughter and the Enemy Prince. So I shared about volume 1 that I had. I really liked it. It is a more unhinged version of Seventh Time Loop, for sure. But I was really conflicted at the end of volume 1 that it seemed like our leads were splitting in the sense they'd be in 2 different places at 2 different times. And I'm like, well, like their banter is amazing. Yes, unfortunately that does happen in the beginning of volume 2, but we're introduced to our girl's first friend. She is awesome. She is awesome. I did not feel lacking at all with how cool this other girl was, how cool their friendship was, how she felt, our female lead felt she could be real, her real self with her, and seeing the other girl be her real self with the female lead. Like, it was fantastic. Girl friendships are awesome, but let me tell you, the best part of this volume, hands down, is that last chapter. Seeing our female lead kick this dude's butt, he had it coming, y'all. He had it coming. I was loving it. I was loving it. I was having the time of my life. I was like, this is one of the best chapters I have read where I felt so amped up, hyped up. I was in my car like, oh my goodness, I can't believe she just did that. I'm like, keep going, kick his butt. Tell him your thoughts. Let him know. It was good. It was really good. Like, this is a volume, I'd say, like, if you read volume 1, you're like on the fence, read volume 2. All of volume 2 is good, but that last chapter, get to the end. Read it just for the last chapter, y'all. Like, that is how good it was. Really liked volume 1, but I really, really love volume 2. Like, it really just, everything amped up. Our female lead is awesome. I thought, like, maybe she's gonna lose some of that cool edge. She has, no, she got it. She gonna keep having it, and I am here to see how she's gonna keep having it. And last but not least, which actually was my very first read of this month, and this is a Japanese title, so I couldn't technically read it. I looked at the pictures. I looked at the pictures, and that is volume 2 of this series right here. The title is so long, and I always forget how to say it. I loved it. This is a series that I have not read in English at all, and I just was very intrigued by the couple. I originally came because their character design reminded me of Nina from Nina the Starry Bride, as well as Azor from Nina the Starry Bride, and I was like, oh, a ship that's sailing that's similar? I'm seated. It's very different, though, than Nina the Starry Bride. I mean, it sort of has a political marriage, but there were so, oh my gosh, there were so many cute romantic moments in this that I was like, I don't even need to know what it says because that bitch is so cute. I was like, I don't even need to know. My heart is just happy just looking at it. Like, I really was. Like, man, it was beautiful. This is a series I so desperately want in English. I'm just like, you know, if you feel, publisher, that it would sell well because Nina the Starry Bride, then take it all the way. Take it all the way. Give it to me. I don't really care. Do what you gotta do just so I can get it in my hands. Now, I will say that this last chapter, I won't show you any pictures of that. It was intense. It was intense. I was scared for our female lead, and I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. Thankfully, everything was okay. Everything was made up, but whoo, that was a little bit scary. I was on the edge of my seat, and I can't even read the words right now. I really, really loved it. I definitely am gonna be getting volume 3. It has been a really enjoyable series to look at and see all of the wonderful and beautiful characters. Like, again, I just wanted it in English so bad. I love it. If there was more merch of this series, there's not too much that I have found, which is good for me. I would be getting it because that's just how much I have loved everything I've seen for this series. And that, my friends, wraps up up all of my thoughts on everything. I hope I did it well. I felt some thoughts were a little bit more scattered than others, but man, y'all, trying to say spoiler free, that is hard. That is hard. Yeah, let me know though, have you read any of these manga, or what were some of your favorite reads last month? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!